Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. So we're talking games, movies, TV, and maybe something that's not been on here for a little while. Stay tuned for that, and stuff from the week. Well, when it was recorded at least. While I've got you, before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. If you've got a couple of minutes spare, you could even drop us a review. Tell us how much you love the podcast. It's a big help to us, and it does help us to bring more fantastic content in the future. Right, let's get going. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello, how you doing? You well? Good. How's your week been? How's your weekend? How's everything? Good. So let's look at. Earlier in the week, it got real warm. I was like, here we go. Here comes the heat. Here comes the sun and all of that. I started breaking out the old, is it me or is it warm? It's always a good one. I'm not entirely sure what the point to that question is, but it's probably just ingrained into me. So yeah, there was the sun was out, the temperature was up. Bonus, get the sunglasses out. Negative, hay fever has been horrendous recently. I basically can't touch my face without my eyes just streaming or itching or both. And I felt like we'd had like not a harsh winter. I don't know, maybe felt like a long winter, maybe. It just felt cold for a long time. I had a conversation with a friend a couple of weeks ago where I was like, what is the deal with the weather? It seems like it's been cold for a while. I've still got the jumper out just in case kind of weather, and we're well into, at this point we're well into May. At that point it was probably back end of April, early May. And I think there was points through the last winter where even I don't mind the winter. Get your jumpers out and all of that. Even I was like, it's a bit chilly. It's a bit cold. It's a bit miserable. I think maybe that was it. I think maybe it was the miserable side of things that was probably the issue. And then literally one day of it being warm, and I was like, no, I'm good, thanks. I can do without this. I'll give this one a pass, thanks. So it was just that sort of remembering in an instant what summer is actually like and being like, no. All those sleepless nights. But I was like, I'll get it written down on my list, talk about on the podcast, talk about the heat and stuff. And literally the next day, it's like, it's a bit chilly, isn't it? And then there was a couple of days of it being not as warm, and now we've hit this amazing weather where it doesn't really get sunny, but it's warm because it's so muggy, and then I think nearly every evening or every night, it's torrential rain. And I'm kind of like, so we're not even getting the best bits of summer. There's no sun. It's just warm, muggy, grey a lot of the time, and raining. So yeah, we're in that phase. And yes, in case you're wondering, I have started this podcast talking about the weather. That, I hope, is not a sign of things to come. Got plenty on the list this week. I fixed a door, which on one hand might not sound like much, on another might sound like a lot. I'm going to make a confession. I'm going to hold my hands up on this one. I have never been all that much of a DIY kind of person. I've always been kind of envious of people who are. But it's just not. It's not in the fibre of my being. You want something baking? Give me a shout. I made pasta yesterday, just randomly. Looked at the time. I was like, I've got 2 hours to make the child some tea. It would probably take about 2 hours to make some pasta from scratch. So let's do this. Didn't turn out all that bad. Learned from my mistakes. Going to try it again soon. So I was never massively pass me that screwdriver. For some things I will. For some things I would. And bearing in mind that I've had jobs that are, screwdriver based jobs. But recently, with all the goings on, laying flagstones, there was no point in my life where I was like, yeah, I can see that in my future. Digging holes and stuff like that. Probably more comfortable with digging a hole because it's like, just using a spade in it. But we had the situation with the front door. One day, the front door was sticking. I was like, oh, the front door's sticking. So there was an oiling situation. Some WD-40 was sprayed on the door. And it made no difference. And in actual fact, possibly made things a little bit worse. So there was a point in time where I looked at the door. And I was like, oh, there's signs where it's rubbing. So basically, it just needs a candle rubbing up and down the door, It's got a bit warmer. The door's probably swelled some. So that's that. Mentioned it to Leanne in passing. Next thing she was like, I run a candle down the door. That did nothing. Like, okay. But whilst all this is going on, the door's getting worse and worse and worse. It's getting to the point where the door's actually sticking and not opening. Like, how quickly are we reaching a point where we're not going to be able to open the door? Or, not being able to open the door to get in, but likewise not being able to open the door to get out, fire risk, all of that, actually making an attempt to leave the house is going to be, you have to climb out a window or something. So it reached a point that things were actually that bad that over the course of like 2 days, there were points where I couldn't get the door open. I think once the door started, I was a bit like, I'm not sure this is good. So, very abruptly at one point in time, I was like, the door needs fixing. Something needs doing with the door. The door needs fixing. So, let's have a look. At one point, I thought I'd made it better. I thought that like part of the locking mechanism was not going back fully, so it was like catching. And I'd sort of jiggled it and moved it and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's actually made it better. That didn't last long. So I'm like, right, first things first, let's look at the door and try and diagnose the problem. So I started looking at the door, and almost immediately was like, should that screw be hanging out of that bit of the door? Like, probably not. It's like, I've got an idea. How about we tighten that screw and take it from there? So, shot into the kitchen like a bolt of lightning. Got the toolbox. Got the correct screwdriver. Shot back to the door. Screwed the screw in. There was a little bit of the piece in question. The screw would go in, but once you got it to a point where it was tight, the piece would move. So it took a little bit of working out how to sort of secure it. I was like, maybe I need some like grips, because pliers won't do. And literally the adjustable spanner would open at its widest, and it was like a mil off. Like, come on, dude. Like, how am I going to do this? And it's like, oh, if you just push it to its maximum, then it doesn't move anymore, and then you can screw it tight. So, managed to screw it in. I was like, right, okay. Has that fixed the problem? And the answer was yes. Now then, I know what you're thinking at this point. You're thinking, is it that big of a victory? My answer is yes. To me, it was a big victory. It was something was wrong. Something needs to be fixed. I looked at it, I found the problem, and I fixed it. And for a person like me, somebody who's not naturally, let's get the tools out and fix it. I'm probably not going to be building anything anytime soon. All those sorts of things. To have that series of events, there is a problem, diagnose the problem, fix the problem, and worlds better. I took great pleasure in telling all of the children that I'd fixed the door. It was a big achievement for me, at least. I had one of those days. One day last week, went out for a run. Set off, and I was like, ooh, this run feels fast. Now, anytime that happens, my initial instinct is always steady on there, tiger. Slow it down. Slow your roll. You don't want to burn through all of your energy. Before you've even started. Let's just take it easy. So off I go on my run. I'm like, I've got a little bit of energy in the tank. That clean living might be sort of starting to take hold. Clean fuel burns better. Is that even a saying? So I went out on my run. I was like, yes. Somewhere in there, I'd done a leg workout. I'm like, maybe all the pieces are finally falling into place. Maybe the leg workout's clicking in line with the running. Maybe the running is falling in line with the healthier eating. Maybe the healthier eating's falling in line with the metabolism. Maybe maybe the metabolism's working and giving me the energy to do these runs, and maybe it's all coming together. So made a mental note, was like, right, okay, it's just one run, it's just one day, it doesn't have to be whatever. Next day, get up, get sorted, get ready to run, head out. I'm like, ooh, here we go. Got that energy, got that little bit of a boost, it feels quick. The run feels quick. Okay, I'm liking this. This is day 2. Oh, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the point in time I've been waiting for all this, when it's all going to click together and it's all going to start working in unison, and I'm the time and the effort and the things that I put into this are actually starting to pay off. Not gonna lie, I've been waiting a long time for this. And I was like, as I've sort of said, I was trying to pick it apart, like what combination have I managed to hit where it's all working and it's all going well. So head out, do the run, complete the run, get back. Boom. The next time I go for a run, so there might have been a rest day in there. Maybe. So the third run, can't say it was the third day in a row, third run. Get ready, set out. Here we go. Let's find out if, because third time's a charm kind of thing. It's got to be, if you go on your third run and everything's working well, then you've cracked it. You've obviously, unlocked the code, got the cheat code. Set out for my run. You know what's coming, don't you? That's right. It was the fastest run. I'm joking. I was dragging ass. And I was just like, I'm really disappointed. I'm really just like, is it ever going to click? I've been talking recently about like my weight, and just starting to feel like it's just out of control. It's unobtainable, or unobtainium if you're watching Avatar. It's just, that feeling of no matter what I do, it's not right. Running and working out, and oh my God, I started a new workout today. Holy shitballs. I knew the workout I'd done for the last month was tough. The thing with any workout, once you get 2 or 3 weeks in, even when it's tough, you're like, yeah, I can do this. So I switched to the second month of the workout today. Freaking Norma. I came out of the garage and was like, I hurt. I've got muscle ache now. That almost never happens. I was in agony for the rest of the afternoon, and all I could think was, what the hell am I going to feel like tomorrow? Anyway, going back to the run. I was just like, is there ever going to be a time where it all clicks? Somewhere along the line, the maths is wrong. So let's do the maths, okay? Eating well. Check. Tick. Put that on the left side of the piece of paper. Plus leg workout plus, we're going to go three-part equation here, plus been running for how many years now? Is it 8 years? Is it 8 years? Jesus, is it 8 years? Whew. Been running, on and off for a long time. Which is the day where it clicks? Which is the combination where it clicks? Which is the point in time when it gets easier? Because it isn't. And like this thing with the weight, it's like, is it ever gonna fall into place? Is it ever gonna be right? Disheartening, let's put it that way. Ironically, speaking of weight, so I can't even think what day it was. Was it Thursday? I'm asking you like you know. I think it was Thursday. Thursday I was home alone. And when I say home alone, I mean no other humans in the house. There was a dog. There was 2 cats. And me. I'd had to get my youngest. I said to my youngest the night before, I was like, can you do me a favour? Can you ring me in the morning? Because I'm going to be on my own. So it was kind of a race against time. I don't know what the connection is. I don't know why. But I'm doing this thing where I'm trying to eat a little bit more. To try and sort my metabolism out, I guess. I work on the principle of being nearly 42 years old that my metabolism probably doesn't actually exist anymore. So I was like, I should eat more. And my mind went, yeah, but you're on your own, so you should eat everything. Like, well, that's a silly idea, so let's not do that. And my mind was like, yeah, but let's. So I had that to contend with all day. And as if that wasn't bad enough, there's the part of me that is almost completely fueled by coffee. That's like, okay, so you've got your bog standard, boil the kettle, put the coffee in the cup of coffee. You've also got the machine, quote unquote machine coffee, which is like pods, coffee, away you go. There's also the carton of like cold, milky latte stuff in the fridge. There's the fact that last year, or the year before, whenever it was, pandemic lockdown type deal, I learned to make my homemade version of an iced caramel macchiato. So there's that as well. And the part of my brain that is purely fueled by coffee went, it's just not enough though, is it? Maybe what you should do is look up a recipe for a new type of coffee. And while you're at it, maybe you should also come up with a new coffee. So take like a couple of different recipes, mix them together, boom, new coffee. Well, this is what happens when I'm left to my own devices. And yeah, I think, it's obvious what happened. I invented a new coffee. I'm calling it the Home Alone It'll be served at Christmas with certain unrelated movies. Speaking of workouts and doing workouts and all of this, I'm in this sort of area at the moment where, as far as like exercise and eating and running and stuff, I don't really know if I'm coming or going. I can't seem to get the food right. Like, kind of alluded to there, when I hear you should eat more, what I hear is you should eat everything. So that's why I've never been a fan of you should eat more. I'm a fan of you should eat less because you're overweight. That's me, that's who I am. And that's, less goes in, more comes off. That's the way things work for me, supposedly. So yeah, I struggle with the phrase "you should eat more." And then I've been doing this workout for the last month, and then I started the new one today. So Saturday, up early on a Saturday, got to get out and run before Leanne and the youngest go off to do the shopping. So I need to be out and back so that I can grab the dog, take the dog for a walk, and get back. Now I made a critical error, which I know what you're thinking. It's not like you. I made a critical error because I got up, I got out the door, I went for my run. I got back, literally in through the door, let the dog out, give him his breakfast, give him his dentist stick, and then I'm like, right, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna go for a fairly long one. I'm trying to mix things up for him to, I don't know, socialization, desensitization, whatever you want to call it. So we're not going on our usual walk, and we are going on a longer walk. So me and the dog out the door. Bear in mind at this point in time, I've already got nearly 2.5 miles under my belt. Out the door with the dog. And if I had to estimate, I'm going to say at least 2 miles. In fact, I wonder if I can find out. Oh, done my steps today. Saturday. Is that the Saturday gone? Not sure. Steps. That looks like time. Week. Saturday. 12,641 steps. Doesn't tell me how far I've gone. It doesn't tell me anything. So by the time I get home with the dog, probably done nearly 5 miles of walking and running. Here's where it all went wrong. Because on certain Saturdays, I need to have done everything by 10:30. Other Saturdays, I've probably got more leeway. I could even do my workout, lunchtime, afternoon, evening, whatever. This was one of those days. So this was a Saturday where I didn't need to do my workout. But what I usually do is I get back from walking the dog, make a coffee, get a pint of water, and consume both over the course of the next 20 minutes, whilst usually wasting my life scrolling through social media, waiting for the dog to fall asleep. Once the dog's asleep, shut him in, go and do a workout. So this is what I did. This is exactly what I did. Drank a pint of water, drank a cup of coffee, shut the dog in, went to do a workout, and it was legs. And I got so far in, and I was like, I don't think I can do this. And the realization came round real fast. That realization of, you have fucked up. You have made a terrible error. You should have waited a couple of hours, 3 hours, some time to do this workout, because walking and running nearly 5 miles and then doing a leg workout is not the right move. Me being the idiot, stubborn idiot, whatever, continued, pushed through, dug deep, all of those words, and I completed my leg workout. And all I could think from that point on was, man, I need a nap. I need to lie down. I need to sleep. I need to recover somehow, because I done fucked up. So I'm like, okay, I need to go and get changed. I need to get in the shower. I need to do all of this. But this drive, this urge, this need to rest eventually ended up taking over. I'd gone upstairs, sat down on the bed, then I lay down on the bed. Terrible idea. And then I closed my eyes. And I had this whole... You ever have that thing where you're like, your eyes are closed, but you're fully awake, but your mind... It's like your mind drops out of gear. So you're awake and you can hear everything, and you're not, no part of you is asleep, other than the fact that you've got your eyes closed. It was that. And I just lay for like 5 minutes and was like, okay, I'm good. I'm good to go. I'm revitalized. Let's do this. So not exactly a power nap, not exactly a sleep, not rest and recoup, just a little bit of downtime. That's about that. That's about the week sort of covered. There's been a lot of entertainment stuff. Now then, I need to ask a question at this point in time. I'm looking at the time, I'm looking at how much I've done. So I've done about half an hour. Something that I've sort of been wondering, been pondering, been thinking. I'd like to know who tunes into the podcast, this podcast in particular, to listen to the entertainment stuff. And I'd like to know who tunes into the podcast to listen to me talk about my week. So, if you've made it this far into the podcast, can you do me a small favour? I imagine it'll take a matter of seconds. You could even just use one word. Drop a comment. Drop an email, tag me on social media, just say, I'm here for the entertainment, or just say, I'm here for the week, just so I can get an idea of what sort of direction to take the podcast in, he says after 150 something episodes. So, that's that. Let's talk about entertainment. Finally got back around to watching the second series of Spaced. I mean, what is there to say about a series that's 20-something years old? B, Spaced. I mean, it's fantastic. It's awesome. Second series has some great episodes. Don't know if I felt that there was any jokes or situations that don't stand up. As a series, it stands up very well. Very, very enjoyable. I saw an advert, a trailery thing, whatever you want to call it, for Series 3. Series 3 of Love, Death and Robots. I was like, oh man, I really enjoyed Love, Death and Robots. For anybody who doesn't know Love, Death and Robots, I'm pretty sure, and I might be wrong, I'm pretty sure it's a series of different animation studios, like CG animation studios, that are all given the opportunity to do like shorts, like mini movies, animated. A lot of them are CG. All of them might be CG. Some I think are animated. Anyway, animation, CG, whatever you want to call it. So, I saw an advert, Series 3. I was like, I loved it. So I put Netflix on. It's a Netflix series. Put Netflix on to find that I had in actual fact not watched Series 2. So some people would say, you didn't love it that much, did you? Seem to remember like knowing that Series 2 was out and having that intention of watching it, and then being like everything in life, I presume I just never got round to it. I was like, oh, well, the bonus there is I've got 2 series to watch because Series 3 is now available. At this point in time, I have watched and finished the second series. I saw a friend of mine had reviewed Series 3, saying, Love, Death and Robots, it's great, even if it is a little depressing. Some of the stories are fantastic. Some of the stories just make you wish there was more. Some of them are fine and enjoyable and good to watch. Others are like, they need to do a film of this. They need to do a full-blown film of this. It needs to happen. It's just like, man, the sold us short on this one. Others are just an enjoyable watch. And then every now and then there's like one where you're like, this one's maybe not for me. Great voice talent. There was one I was watching last night that had Noah North in, of Uncharted fame. Unfortunately, I hadn't realised, but the way it was playing on Netflix, I'd actually ended up dropping back into Series 1 and was watching Series 1 episodes. My intention is to watch Series 3 and complete that. Very good, very enjoyable, just lots of fun. Having watched Spaced, mentioned a line or a phrase or something in passing to Leanne about black books. And her response was, oh, we should watch that next, having watched Spaced. I was like, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let's do that. So last night, I think it was, we watched first 2 episodes of Black Books. Black Books it's like the sister show to Spaced. And again, it's great, isn't it? It's a jolly good series. Let's talk some movies. One new film and a couple of classics. I have never seen the Jack Reacher films. There is a reason for that, and the reason is that Tom Cruise is the main character. Now, I want to get this out there, because I think I've probably talked about this before. I used to like Tom Cruise. I used to be a fan of his work. Probably back in the 80s, early 90s. I didn't mind a Tom Cruise movie. Top Gun, great film. Say what you want. Flying stuff's amazing. I was thinking about it today. I was like, the only one that springs to mind, and I don't know why, is like Cocktail. Was it like A Few Good Men? Mission Impossible. The first one was fine. I was a big fan of the second one at the time. I saw a clip of the second one today, and the thought of going back and watching it made me shudder. So, you know. But I've never seen the Jack Reacher films because I am not a Tom Cruise fan anymore. I would say I'm actively the opposite. I have this thing where I see trailers for movies and I'm like, oh, for flip's sake, I'm going to have to watch a Tom Cruise movie. More often than not, it's the Mission Impossible films. I've seen them all. I think I own some of them. Not sure if I own all of them. And honestly, holding my hands up, I kind of do want to see the new Top Gun. So there. That's that out of the way. So I watched Jack Reacher. The first one. There are 2 Jack Reacher films. The first one was available to watch on like Prime or Netflix or something like that. So I was like, cool. If I can watch it for free, even better. Having watched Reacher, the TV series, and really enjoying that, I was like, you know what? I should probably give the film a whirl. YouTube was very much like, oh, you should watch the film, because every time I put YouTube on, it was like, here's a clip from the Jack Reacher film. It's like, it's all off YouTube. I watched it, and not gonna lie, I enjoyed it. It was a good film. It was enjoyable. Like the TV show, and I presume that this just comes off the back of the books, some questionable elements. He's not the cleanest cut character, that's for sure. It's certainly an interesting character, this sort of homeless guy that goes from place to place and solves mysteries, I guess. It's basically the Incredible Hulk TV series. Had a conversation, been in a bit of this sort of like checking out some sort of classics, films and TV series and things like that I've enjoyed from the past. Inevitably, a particular film was bound to come up, as well as its TV show, and that is the film Serenity. I've talked, I'm sure, at length about Serenity and my love of the film. It's one of those that I didn't watch it for a long time for a variety of different reasons. Some of those reasons were I didn't want to kill it as a film. I didn't want to have watched it too many times because, as I've said many times before, I believe that Serenity is the perfect film. Doesn't make it the best film, doesn't make it the worst film, but I believe it is a perfect film. Put that on to watch. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I did miss watching it on the bigger TV with the surround sound and stuff, because it's a film that really does need all of those things. Really does need you've got to do it the justice, you know, and whatever the biggest TV you can get your hands on and the biggest surround sound you can get, you've got to give it that, because it absolutely deserves it. So yeah, I don't necessarily think I need to go into it. I must have covered it at least once, if not maybe a couple of times. Third film for the week, still very much in the vein of, classics. Trying to find a Saturday night movie for me and Leanne to watch. Neither of us could come up with anything. It's a bit thin on the ground for films at the moment. However, while I was looking for something, I was like, oh my word. On Prime, they've got all of the Jaws films. Anybody who has seen all of the Jaws films will know that is simultaneously a good and not good thing. Mentioned it to Leanne. I was like, oh, they've got all the Jaws films. She was like, let's watch Jaws. I was like, okay, let's watch Jaws, which we did. I have this very up and down thing with Jaws. One, Jaws is a fantastic film. It really is. It genuinely is a fantastic film. As an aside, I saw an article today that said that one of the children that was in Jaws has been made the sheriff of the town that Jaws is set in. Which was one of the kids who plays the prank with the shark fin at one point. Apparently he's been made the sheriff of that town. No matter how much I think of Jaws, no matter how much I know it's a great film, and all of those things, fantastic movie. It scares me. Over the years, I don't know why and I don't know what. Over the years, I've become increasingly more afraid of the open ocean exhibit. Of the open ocean. Years ago, I went on a boat that took you out from a harbour, round a bit of the sea, and back into the harbour. And while I was on that boat, I was just looking down and was like, just this abyss, this expanse, there could be anything under there kind of feeling just gripped me. And ever since, I've just got more and more afraid of the sea. Add to that sharks are terrifying creatures. Add to that Jaws, it's a giant shark. It's just this perfect combination of terrifying elements. I don't think there'll ever be a point that I don't have that little bit of a when he's chumming the water and the shark comes, when Jaws comes out of the water. And he's just like, he's slowly backing up and it's like, we're going to need a bigger boat. It's just that, I don't jump. I just go, sort of deal. It's a great film, but for me, it is a bit terrifying. So there. Now then, long-time listeners, brace yourselves. I need you to make sure you're sitting down. I'll give you a couple of seconds to make sure that you are sitting down before I say what I'm about to. I have played some VR. I know. So, when I say I have played some VR, I'm gonna pepper that steak with played quite a lot of VR. So, I've played all 3 Vader Immortal games. And every time I've played a Vader Immortal, I've also played some Gun Club. Now, there's a few things here. A little while ago, whilst doing an update to my Oculus, it all went skew if there was something wrong with it. And I ended up having to wipe it and reinstall it, which is fine. It's fairly easy, fairly, painless, apart from the fact that it wipes all of your saves, which I was a little upset about. Especially for things like Gun Club, because I put a lot of time into that game. I'd unlocked a lot of guns, so on and so forth. When it wipes your save, you start back at square one. So, not happy. So 3 days I've done a Vader Immortal game, once a day for 3 days. I think I missed a day, so it's probably been over the last 4 days. Played Gun Club every day. I want to play, I want to play Pistol Whip. I want to play Half-Life. I want to play Arizona Sunshine. All the classics. But I'm just easing myself in a little bit here, a little bit there. It's been great. It's been fun. My biggest fear was what happened to me last time, which was the last time I played VR. The dog, for want of a better way of putting it, kicked me in the balls when I wasn't expecting it. So it was just a lot, it was a lot more painful. Yeah, it put me off playing VR. What I've found now is if both me and Leon are down the other end of the room, he'll come and sort of go in his bed and kind of stay there. So it allows me the opportunity to play VR. Playing the I'm big into the Star Wars at the moment, as we'll see shortly. Playing the Vader Immortal games reminds you that the first one was good, if short, and the other two were not. They were short, incredibly so, but just nowhere near as good. The only saving grace of those games is the dojo. However, I have not played the dojo due to limited time. Like I say, my intention is to move on and play some other things. Then I'm going to move to some PC VR because I bought a big bundle of PC VR games. The one game that I would like to play isn't available on the version of the Quest that I've got. I do need to look and see if it's available on PC VR. I think it might not be, which is a weird one. So I'll look into that. But yes, fingers crossed, more VR playing to talk about. So let's talk computer games, actual console games. I finished The Force Unleashed. Great time all round. I talked about it last week. They don't make games like that anymore. They don't make games where they give you all the tools and send you on your way. And if you can find a way to do it and it works, good on you. Well done. Congratulations. They don't even make games like that when they do a sequel. So, Force Unleashed 2. Played it, finished it, and I can see why there wasn't a third one. I felt like I'd never played it, even though I knew I had. Force Unleashed 2, right out of the gate, goes, you're powerful. You're real powerful. But what we're going to give you in power, we're going to take away in gameplay. So there is an addition of quick time events, which were in the first one, but you could kind of negotiate round them, navigate round them, should I say. The second one, those quick time events are pretty much embedded. There's very, very few ways to get around them, and they are all the same. So you're fighting a big robot, you go into a quick time event, it's the same buttons, which produces the same action, which produces the same little cutscene, and there are loads of them. It gets real dull real fast. And this is what I remembered from playing this game originally. It was in some ways a step forward in gameplay. The graphics are better, the gameplay, the fact that you're more powerful from an earlier point sort of thing. What you gain from that side of things, they take away in actual gameplay. The game becomes very kind of dull and kind of monotonous very fast. Like second level in, you're like, you're killing me, man. Also, it feels like there are only like 3 levels, but those levels are like go on for days. highlighted most when, towards the back end, spoiler for a game that's 12 years old or something, but spoilers nonetheless. For there's a point where you fight Vader, which is a common theme, and the fight goes on. Must be like 40 minutes or something. Yeah, we want to experience what it might be like to fight Darth Vader in a lightsaber battle. Not for 40 minutes though. So, yeah, it was a bit more. It was more disappointing in a lot of ways. Having finished The Force Unleashed and The Force Unleashed 2, I went back to Sniper Elite 3 and subsequently completed Sniper Elite 3 again. This left me with an option. Start Sniper Elite 4 from the beginning in preparation for the 5th one, which comes out in 3 days. And I'm fingers crossed waiting for a copy of that. Or a little while ago, I bought a game in a sale. It was an old game, so I wasn't that bothered about buying it digitally. The sale was, for once, actually quite good for getting. It was like an ultimate edition of the game. It is a game I played previously, but one I never finished. The game in question is Dying Light. Again, a game that's recently had a sequel. I don't think the sequel was rated as good as the original. I was like, do you know what? I'm going to put the disc in for Sniper Elite 4, but I'm going to play Dying Light and see if I can get into it. So it was like, oh, we've found a save. Would you like to import it? I was like, yep, sure, do that. It's like, oh, story progress, 69%. I was like, yep, I know exactly what happened in the game. I was playing it. I knew where all the things were. I knew where all the safe houses were. I was down, and then it made me go to a new area, and I was just like, I can't go through the emotional roller coaster of learning where everything is again. I'm pretty sure I'd put something like 60 hours into that game at that point, and I just stopped playing it. So. Decided to start from the beginning with the option of maybe loading up that save once I got, a bit further in. Started playing it. I was like, this game's good. This game's fun. This game's enjoyable. Never been a fan of running and jumping in first person. When done right, it's kind of okay. When done wrong, it's fucking awful. This one's a bit in the middle. When it's done, it's very much the same. When it's done right, it's done well, and when it's done wrong, it's disastrous. It's zombies, it's parkour, it's free running, running from place to place. Avoid the zombies. If you can't avoid them, hit them with something heavy. There are people who, zombies that are bigger and stronger that you can't defeat as well. But I'm playing the game and I'm like, I am digging this. I'm digging this, man, but something doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel as simple as this. Something's wrong. So there was a point where I was out and about and I was running around and I died. I got cornered by a load of zombies. They beat me and I died. Then a message came up on the screen and that message said, "You died and you lost X amount of XP." And I went, that's right. It's one of those games. Yes, if you don't bank your XP, if you don't level up as and when you're supposed to, and you die, you lose that experience point. Yay. Sorry. Just clattered the microphone with a glass. Continued playing. I was like, as long as I'm quick on my feet, I'll be all right. Continued playing. At which point I went, it's night time. Like, okay. I seem to remember this being a thing. Do you know what happens at night time? These super fast, super strong things that are worse than zombies come out and they just chase you until they catch you and kill you, which they did. And I went, oh yeah, that was the other thing I didn't like. So we went from starting the game, oh yeah, this is fun, I can't remember what was so wrong with this, to, oh now I remember, and maybe it's not that much fun. I will go back to it. I intend to go back to it. I'll probably go back to it after I finish this. So we'll see. You might hear more from me about Dying Light. That's it. Like I said, if you made it all the way through, made it, to the end, if you made it this far, please do drop me a message in some way, shape, or form and let me know what it is that you tune into this podcast for, so that I can tailor it a little bit better to what people want. Right, that's it. I'll catch you guys later. So there you go, what do you think of that? Another one done, another one gone. More to come in the future. Thank you for listening. Thank you for checking out the podcast. If you did like, share, subscribe and comment, thank you to you. Anybody that's dropping us reviews, thank you to you. You can also check out our website, thecookiecast.com. We've got some links there for social media, and you can email us. There's an email button. So do give that a whirl. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.